for me, this is like bonus coming home. Being in the town I grew up in and having people, I go to a school and I don't know who all's there, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I went to school with you, or I had a teacher yesterday, my mom graduated with you. I know, like before they said, there's an author coming to your school, and you're like, oh, there's an author. Who is it? It's T.P. Jaggger. And you're like, oh, never heard of him. And because it took me like over 20 years of dreaming of wanting to be an author to when I finally had that book to hold my hand, that was pretty phenomenal. When I wrote Hide and Geek, I didn't write Hide and Geek. I wrote Nerds Rule. That's what I called it. And got the story done. It got sent off. Random House Children's Book said, you know what? We think this Nerds Rule is a pretty good book. I'm like, yeah. And we don't like the title. First of all, if you want to write, you just spend time writing and do it and keep working at it and don't give up with it and study it. So, you know, I read, I love to read, but I read like a writer. So I'm looking, if I like a book, it's like, what do I like about this book? Here's how I turn it into a story. I make there be a problem. Because if there is a problem, then the middle actually has something to do and can maybe be interesting. Because if I have a problem, I want to solve it. And in a story, we call that the resolution. There's teachers along the way. Phillips Elementary was Mrs. Berry. John Young Junior High, Mr. Beekner. Mishawaka High School, Mrs. Cunningham. To hoop! To hoop! Or not to hoop? Or not to hoop? That is the question. First of all, I guess I'd have to think like my wife. The first book is dedicated to her. It says, for Amy, because you said yes. Part of it was she said yes because she married me almost 30 years ago. But she also said, when I said, hey, can I spend more time with my writing? And she said yes. And if she hadn't said that, Hide and Geek wouldn't have happened because I wouldn't have had the time to devote to it. Well, he was only a sock, so he couldn't really smile. Still, they all lived happily ever after.